Good morning, everyone. Just a reminder today that the meeting will be live streaming on YouTube channel, and we're just going to reconvene and continue from yesterday. So by saying that, we're at 4.1.1, and we're going to review the draft 2026 water and wastewater budget, and there'll be presentations from Director Bukaboom and Manager Porter and Adam Found. So which one of you want to start first, go right ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Today we're pleased to present the 2026 proposed water wastewater budget. We have Dr. Found who will present the capital portion. We touched on that in the capital meeting the other day. We just wanted to reiterate and put it all together with the water wastewater budget. Also presenting this, we are in alignment and anticipating the water rate study recommendations coming forward to Council on November 4th, and you will hear Watson's long-term financial plan and recommendations. So this presentation is in alignment with those draft findings. So first we'll review the water and wastewater operating. On the next slide, please, Constance. The water and wastewater budget always balances to zero. Through the user rates, we anticipate the amount of consumption, we take growth into account, we affect the percentage increase, and included within that, from an operational expenditure perspective, is the transfers to reserves. So the long-term financial plan and the rates that Watson will be doing for us recommend an amount of, the bottom line there, 5.7 million is transferred to reserves, and that's to anticipate future capital needs. So this budget is very detailed in terms of the full long-term financial planning. The day-to-day operations have 21 water systems and 6 wastewater systems, and includes additional pumping stations, distribution, and wastewater collection systems. All of the programs include drinking water quality management standards, bulk water systems, sewer surcharge agreements, and the backwater valve subsidy. So there's quite a few varying programs going on within this budget, and it is shown here as one slide for your full summary. On the next slides, you will see it broken down by system in terms of the amount of money earned or spent on the bottom line on those. As you can see, there are multiple systems, and it goes on to the next slide, Constance. And at the end of the day, through the transfers to reserves and the user rates, this is how the budget, similar to the tax budget, comes to zero at the end of the day. So we keep an eye on consumption. It is good for users to consume lesser water, but therefore the rates have to be included and predicted to see what consumption is doing. So that's why Watson is doing a full analysis at the moment. On the next slide, we will get into the water and wastewater, but maybe I'll pause there in case there are any questions on the operating systems and the operating side of the budget.
Seeing none.
Sorry?
Do you have a question?
Sorry, Director Bukaboom wanted to pause on a slide, but then it flipped back. So which slide are we pausing on?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I was just asking if there were any questions on the detailed operating systems before we move over to Manager Found's capital presentation.
I'm seeing none. Go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. This part of the presentation is precisely what was already presented to the committee on Monday. So I'm happy to sort of go through it at a summary level, understanding that you've already seen it, but also still happy to answer any questions that might come up. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the table that summarizes the proposed expenditures by capital program. as well as by type of capital projects, stated good repair versus expansionary. And you'll note that there's a substantial expansionary component included in this year's or this upcoming year's proposed budget. On the right-hand side is the correspondent table for the financing, where you'll see all of the usual sources of financing, save and except 2 additions that are new for this year, and they would be the water DC debenture, which is not being utilized, and the sewage DC debenture. And I believe we discussed them at length on Monday as to the nature of them and why they are there, but happy to take any questions on them. This diagram gives you a visual of the distribution of the expenditures by capital program. There's nothing really too unusual here, but I would note that the vertical distribution and collection program is relatively high because of the 2 fairly large sewage pumping station projects that are in there to support growth. And I will also note that the horizontal distribution and collection program is also high because of our continued effort to aggressively replace cast iron water mains in Lindsay. Next slide, please. This gives you a visual sense of the distribution of the financing by source. Again, just very reflective of the table that you had seen. And I'd like to just draw your attention to those, to that new category of financing, the sewage DC debenture, which does make up a substantial portion of the financing. And again, that reflects the 2 sewage pumping stations in Lindsay that are being upgraded to support growth. This slide gives you some historical perspective on this budget. You'll see that in 2023, we have a artificially low amount of expenditure for that year, and that represents the very deliberate holiday that the city took that particular year to allow engineering to catch up on some or a number of outstanding projects that were delayed over the COVID period. You'll see that what is being proposed for 2026 is substantial in terms of expenditure when compared to this year. But again, that's largely reflective of those major growth-related projects that are being proposed in order for the city to grow. Next slide, please. So we have a historic amount of investment being proposed at $46 million. That's reflective of a few things that I've already mentioned, but I'll go over them, some of them again. Significant ongoing capital cost inflation that continues to be a challenge for us, and it's not just affecting the tax-supported side, but also the water, wastewater side of our business. Strategic usage of reserves, debt, the ISIP grant that supports cast iron water main replacement continues to be top of mind for us. As I mentioned, we're continuing to aggressively eliminate the cast iron water mains that remain in Lindsay. And we're looking at a user fee increase that is relatively in line with the draft findings of the Watson's water wastewater rate study. Previously, the number here was 3%. That is still the case with respect to capital, but we're looking at potentially higher increases that are forthcoming from the water wastewater rate study. So that is new information that is just come in. A couple of notable projects that I'll take a moment to look at here. The remediation of the Omemee Water Pollution Control Plant is one that in fact has already been approved as part of the advance approval projects. And the reason for the advance approval was to ensure that we resolve the provincial order issued against the city with respect to that facility as soon as possible. I had already mentioned there's substantial upgrades to a couple of sewage pumping stations in Lindsay. They are the Logie Street and Rideout Street sewage pumping stations, and those are critical and substantial upgrades that are required to enable growth in Lindsay. So I think with that said, we're happy to take some questions.
Councillor Richardson.
Thank you and good morning, and through you, Chair. If we can go back to slide 10, that would be awesome. Just a comment, obviously recognizing that we have regulatory pressures, when it comes to updating our cast iron water mains, and we've been really progressive in the last few years, eliminating that. How far along are we in that process? Like, are we a few more years out when it comes to eliminating all the cast iron water mains in Lindsay, or just an update on that if that's possible?
Yes, so through you, Chair, I don't know the exact quantity that remains in the system, but if you look at our 10-year capital forecast that was approved by Council in August, it shows a number of projects going well out into the next decade that are meant to deal with this issue. So I would suggest that we have probably at least 8 to 10 years worth of projects still to clean up these cast iron water mains.
Thank you. And one more question. When it comes to, revenue neutral, do we have any revenue instability right now? Like this last summer with the drought, we asked folks to, conserve water and stuff like that. And does that affect the amount of revenue we actually have coming in the year?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, exactly, Councillor. When consumption is low, regardless of the amount of increase we've put on the rate, when consumption goes down, so too does our revenue. So that's why predicting the revenues in water and wastewater are a bit more difficult than on the tax side. At any point in time, consumption could vary, which then even if we did a 3 or 4% increase and followed the plan, the minute consumption goes down, so too do our gross revenues. And then in order to balance that, we typically lower the transfer to reserve, which then affects the long-term financial plan.
Thank you. That's kind of where I was hoping you were going, so it gives you a more fulsome picture because there's certain factors that we can't control.
Councillor Warren.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and thanks for the presentation. The Omemee remediation initiative, this has been going on for, I don't know, about 25 years maybe. So is this going to be a definite fix?
So through you, Chair, my understanding is that it should be, that the project that was just approved to meet this need will address not only the provincial order, but ensure that the system works the way that it is designed to, and to ensure that growth can occur in Omemee.
Councillor Joyce.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Chair. So we could flip back to, I think it's page 3. Yeah, right there. So tax revenues, proposed budget 249, but actuals in 2024 were 311. So why the drop in revenue there? What's the prediction there?
Through you, Mr. Chair, when I'm looking at the mid-year 2025, the number is only at 139. So I would anticipate that is why staff reflected that number. But if you could give me some time, the manager of water and wastewater is not available today, but I could look into that and get you that answer in a follow-up email.
Thank you. Maybe that's reflected what Councillor Richardson talked about in terms of actual water consumption and the variability there, but it's quite a drop. The 4% recommended increase is a surprise because we were walking into this meeting at 3% in our head. So there's two ways of looking at it. Oh, it's only 1% more, or the other way of looking at it, it's a 33% hike over what was previously 3%. So if you want to throw percentages around. The Watson study, is it a snapshot of just 2026, or is it projecting several years? And within that, does it make recommendations for 2027, 2028?
So through you, Chair, so by law, that study has to look out at least 10 years. So we typically have a 10-year plan and horizon attached to that study. And so this upcoming study is no different. It will have a capital plan and forecast of, or a total plan and forecast of 2026 to 2035. So their recommendations would span the entire decade.
And do you know what those recommendations are for tax increase or water, the rate increase for 2027 and 2028 would be?
So through you, Chair, unfortunately, we do not yet know that. The work is ongoing. However, we do have a draft findings meeting scheduled with Watson for October 21st, and we should be able to find out shortly before that date.
Okay, that's all the questions I have right now.
Yeah, CEO?
Thanks, Chair. Through you, I just wanted to follow up on one of the questions that was posed with regards to sort of consumption and the revenues. The tax line is a very nominal revenue stream in this particular program. It is tax supported. The user rates are in the user fees, license and fines, which is the bulk majority, the billing side. So where you were talking about the decrease by 4%, again, those are tax-supported side revenues that support the program, and it's a nominal amount, but all of the remainder are user rate. The other comment was just in regards to consumption, and that is correct. Obviously, if consumption drops, our revenues drop. It's not linear, though. There is a baseline charge that we have almost regardless of consumption, and then consumption's on top of that. So I just don't want to mislead that it's a direct drop. It's a combination in the billing.
Mr. Chair, I do have an answer. The tax revenue is associated with waste management revenues that utility billing collects. So again, it's not the user fee. And I also believe that we should change the name on that tax revenue line in the future. And we will do so before the published proposed book.
Any other questions? Then in that case, if there's no questions on that one, then the 4.1.1 is that the draft of the 2026 waste and water budget be recommended to the mayor as amended, because there was an amendment with the 4%, or was it, there was no amendments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this has the 4% anticipated rate increases coming built into it.
Okay, then we'll move it as printed. Have a motion for that. Councillor Joyce, second by Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions before we carry on? No? We'll move into just other business. Any other business that anybody would like to bring up at this time? Seeing none. Then at this time, then, I would just like to, first of all, thank the Budget Committee for the completion of the work done so far to date. We were asked to review this draft 2026 budget here for the city departments. We heard from external fund agencies, organizations, and we provided recommendations for the draft budgets to the mayor to finalize. We did hear from the mayor asking us to achieve a mandate lower than that was forecasted in our long-term financial plan, which was 2% levy, 5% operating. We heard from staff about the inflationary pressures that we've had. We heard about the unknown pressures, like grant fundings not yet announced, but and also the legislation pressures that we have, like mandatory training that we talked about with the police, mandatory for firefighters, the training, and unforeseen costs resulting from our ice storm and wildfires, which is really unknown to us at this time also. So these are the things that, from between now and then, we're going to hear more about. I'm very happy with our decisions yesterday, considering all these pressures. maintaining a capital budget that invests heavily in our roads, maintaining our many, many assets, and significantly reducing our capital deficit. Now that we met and exceeded the mayor's challenge to us, this group, resulting in recommendations plus strategies to achieve a 2% capital levy and 3.75% operating, which is our recommendation from this committee. Although our committee work is done, we will now continue to work with the mayor, staff, and all council to achieve responsible, affordable, and sustainable 2026 budget. So again, thank you, all of you, for all the work, and thanks for all the presentations that we've had to go through. And thank you again for all the work and the questions you had to get where we are today. So on that, I just need to have a motion to adjourn. Councillor Warren, Councillor Richardson, all in favor? Thank you.